two questions. So, like right now, the picture that I'm getting from these two guys that you're awesome. Like it's awesome, right? And then you said that Relentless really, really changed the way that you see life, your perspective, and that. How were you before?
I was so different before. So
She wasn't a Tinkerbell yet. She was still a
not quite yet. It's just
she was
evolving
still
slowly.
She was still a Pikachu back then.
Okay.
So with my life experience, I guess it goes way, way back to the way I was raised. And I think a lot of, I suppose, the Asian community can attest to this, or some of them. I know that some parents are more open-minded about the culture, the Australian culture, how everyone's really laid back. For
We're
me,
fellows, we get it.
yeah. So
Sorry,
my
French.
mom was really like on the ball, really, dug into me whenever I might have done something wrong, I might not have, but she was really like tiger mom, like the most intense tiger mom. And she instilled in me a lot of values that back then I didn't understand and I couldn't, because she's relating to the bigger picture, the real world with her experiences.
Meta
When I was at home, I was quite sheltered. She was really protective.
Yeah.
So I became quite scared.
Okay.
I was very scared to venture out and do things on my own. The whole independence thing I couldn't do. Like, I mean, my relatives were like, there's a job here. Like when I was really young, you start working now. It's really good for you. Oh, I can't. I'm really scared of that. I couldn't do it. And I never did it.
It's like a fear factor again.
Because I was so sheltered, I didn't know any better. I was practically wrapped up in cotton wool.
Yep.
It slowly got to the point where I said to myself, I am this age right now. I need to be able to know how to look after myself. And no one taught me that. My dad left when I was 3. I don't have a father figure. My mum played both. Wow. My mum raised my brother and I by herself. Wow. I was 3, my brother was newborn, dad was out of the picture. Wow. And she really, really showed me what it was like to have a hard life. We were homeless at some stage.
What?
Yes. We lived in a women's shelter for a while.
What?
My mom just did everything by herself. She couldn't work because she had both of us in tow. And she just made everything possible for us.
I think that's the strong heart that you have right now.
And I kept that. Like, I mean, there's a lot of things in the background that's working. And that was why she was so protective of me, because she didn't want to lose me. That was a sort of detriment to me, I guess, because I wasn't able to learn how to live for myself.
In a way, I could see.
So her fears held you back.
Yes, so it's a sort of generational thing where it became something that my brother and I picked up. Yeah. And we were pretty much the same. Yeah. And then, I just really had to get out of that environment. It just clicked with me one day. I got to get out. Yeah. I got out.
Tinkerbell, I understand you. I understand your mom when she said that. The mom is really protective. Man, not even a mosquito bite they wouldn't allow her, I know where she's coming from, and I know where you're coming from, because her wants, I'm independent. I got my 2 kids here. I'm gonna protect them no matter what. No matter what. Doesn't matter if there's a freaking train coming at me. I'm gonna be a Superman or Superwoman, right? It's like stopping the bus.
Yeah.
No one's gonna, no matter what.
Yeah.
But in the same time too, as she grows up, I'm here. It's like being introvert. I don't know anything. I need to explore. I need to be independent also. That's why there's a clash in there. But in what I could see, it's coming from the experience that some of our parents are just very protective. Yeah.
But I think that's a struggle of all parents, I think, because you want to be as protective as you can for your children. But at some given point, you have to be able to let go. And I think
that's the hardest part.
Yeah, that is the hardest part.
That's the hardest part.
As with anything, and it is clear that is what happened to you. But with that being said, when did you make this decision to kind of just go, you know what, I'm out? When did you make that decision?
It actually wasn't that long ago. It was 6 years ago. Around about 6 years ago.
Yeah, just recent.
Very recently.
Yeah.
So I was old enough to already have lived by myself independently. And it was quite toxic. And it's funny because when you're in that environment, sometimes you're blinded and you can't see what's going on around you, what's normal, what's not normal. And I for me to identify that it wasn't normal in that situation was huge, because I grew up with that. And I was looking around and observing just what the dynamics were outside. And I was like, you know what? This isn't normal. So 6 years ago, I decided to move out of home.
Be yourself.
Just become a responsible human being for my own life. I can't write on the story of my parents, because it's just wouldn't be great for me if I did that. And now I've become more confident in myself. I'm completely different to what I was when I was at home. So
Do you
different.
have a picture? I'd love to see a picture of you before.
Of me before?
I think you posted that.
You'd be surprised before and after. You'd be surprised. You could, like, you see a picture an old picture, and you go, shit, I was shy there. I was an introvert there. And then when you see yourself now, you're like, damn, son.
Yeah. With pictures, yeah. Like, I hate looking back at old pictures.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just feel really different. I'm a different person. And I think I had my cousin come into jiu-jitsu because I think he was watching my Instagram stories, and we don't really talk much.
The two boys, right?
Just the one. So
I rolled with both of them already.
that's the one. Have you?
Yeah.
So one of them is my cousin, and he just finished his HSC. He came to he asked me about jiu-jitsu, and I was like, you know what, come on down anytime, just let me know when you're there and I'll be there. So he did his first class, and that was the first time I've seen him since he was a tiny little kid.
Wow.
I haven't seen them in that long. So I met up with my uncle and his wife. My uncle's wife, she spoke to me and she said, you're like a different person now. Wow. It's like we don't know you. I speak like I didn't talk back then, and now I'm talking. It's such a huge difference.
You're an extrovert now.
I'm more extroverted than I'm introverted. Not to say I don't like my moments where I'm with myself and, but I have my moments of reflection, and then I can go out. And now I'm not as afraid, and I surprise myself.
Good on you.
I can talk in front of people, and I think that was facilitated by George and Jace. They gave me so much support because I do have stage fright. And I go up there and I speak to the women, I speak to the whoever it is that's in my class, and I can generate that energy now because I'm not afraid anymore. Initially I might be, but George and Jace have really shaped me into the coach that I am now. They play a huge part in that. So even though a lot of it is myself working inside me, I credit a lot of my improvements to the people around me, because I feel like they've really lifted me up, and some people have literally saved my life.
You had the second question. You had two questions.
The second question is a bit. Just before I ask this question, you said the people around you shape you. Have you cut people? I know you cut. I know, but have you cut people that have put you down? Like, let's say you've been friends with them.
Negative.
Yeah, negative people out. Like, because we talked to Jace, and Jace said that, like, if there's people that bring me down, I'll just cut them. That's it. And
there's no point.
And for me, that's strongest. Like, that is one of the strongest things. Because, like,
you have to do it.
You got to. I know you got to do it, but like, man, like, all right. So you go up to someone, right? You go up to someone, you go, "I'm cutting you."
No, I don't think you would.
It's not like that.
Look,
in the right manners. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, oh no! I'm not physically. I'm not literally gonna go. I'm cutting you. This is it. I'm just saying you're gonna have a conversation with someone and go, look, it's like breaking up.
It is. It is.
Like
it's a
breaking up.
really hard conversation to have, especially if you've known them for a while now.
Yeah.
And you know how they're gonna react to it and how they're gonna feel. It's just starting that conversation. It's so difficult because it is a sensitive topic.
Yeah.
Look, I know what you're talking about, but it doesn't go that way. Being somebody that has cut people off, there's a good rule I live by, which is again in the Peterson book, which is treat yourself like somebody responsible for caring. And I could hear that. Remember how I'm just picking it up as you're talking. You just kind of said, "Look, I'm an extrovert, but when I'm by myself,
I'm an introvert.
I look after myself." I could hear that. And also I've noticed your feeds, there's always self-nurture in you. You know, it's a given that when you read your books, when you stretch, when you hit the gym, you're a self-nurturing person. You know, I could see that clear as day. But Dev, with what you were saying, was that your second question in terms of cutting people off? Yeah.
No, I got another one.
Oh, go for it. Go for it.
No,
brother.
you finish.
No, I'm good. I was just kind of bridging onto that idea. That's all.
I just wanted to ask because, like, you said you when you go into competitions and you ramp up so you're ready. Are you good at ad lib?
What's that?
Ooh, what's that?
So, like, if it doesn't,
I'm glad you have the
This the
same
reason-
question.
this-
It
this
seems
the
so
reason.
stupid.
if it doesn't go to plan, you're allowed. You're able to adjust pretty
Right.
quick.
Okay. Yeah, so part of my anxiety is when something comes out of left field and then it hits me and then I'm like stuck. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Right. So with the whole jiu-jitsu experience, it sort of taught me how to deal with those things that come unexpectedly.
Yeah.
And now I'm more comfortable in doing that than I was before because that gave me massive anxiety.
Okay.
And a part of it also is I think it's acceptance. So accept that something is coming out of left field and you're not prepared for it and you're fine with that. And now you're there in that spot. What are you going to do to deal? How are you going to approach that? How are you going to make it more constructive for yourself?
So ad lib, the definition right here.
It's all right,
I'm going to
spelling
go
it.
back to you. I'm going to go. I'm not being.
Oh, no,
dismissive
that's okay.
here,
Go. Yeah.
It's stated as spoken or performed without previous preparation, occurring, used, or distributed as often as necessary or desired. Is that what you mean by ad lib, or do you have a different definition?
No,
for that?
ad lib.
Yeah.
It's like you're not. It just what is it?
So
Spoken or
Yeah,
performed.
without preparation.
Without preparation.
Right,
Yeah.
So if something comes up and then you sort of like,
So you wing it, so to speak.
You wing it.
Wing it.
How
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
with what Wendy's saying? Like if it's unexpected,
You adapt.
you adapt
It's
your
all right.
adaptation
You
to
adapt.
a
You just adapt.
situation and stuff.
Wow.
I guess that feeds into the conversation we had previously about fear.
That's correct.
The lack of preparation. That scares people a lot.
Yeah. Well, as I said, it's what you don't know that scares you.
Yeah.
But once you face your fear, whatever it is, you'll have information. The fear, another fear that people have is when you face your fear is you're faced with trauma.
Yes.
Right? You're afraid that you're gonna be traumatized by that. But really the purpose of memory in itself, that fly going on. The purpose of memory itself is for you not to do the same thing that you've done that have made you fall either in a hole or burn yourself. That's the only purpose of memory. But in regard to fear, again, yeah, go on.
You said memory to protect yourself for next time?
Well, fear essentially, it first of all, it protects you.
Yeah.
And second, purpose of memory is just for you not to make the same damn mistake
Mistakes.
again. That's the only purpose of memory. But because of the fact that we're emotional creatures, we get so embedded with the memories that we have, and therefore we get stuck in that trauma.
Yeah.
As I'm listening to what Wendy was saying about her family, I can relate to that. I really could. I'm not gonna elaborate more on that. You boys have heard. You've heard my story, but when somebody's that open and talk about what they've gone through,
It's good.
you can almost see that not only have they processed that they're stronger because of that. And I can see that through you at the moment. It is a beautiful sight, and it's a delight to hear. It's so refreshing. It's something else.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it
it
is
could have gone
refreshing.
both ways, because I've been through all of those things, I could have made that into something useful for my life, which is what I've tried to do, or it would have brought me down, and Lord knows where I would be now if I let that get to me and I didn't have the mental toughness to deal with it. Yeah, there are other things as well. I mean, with the whole jiu-jitsu thing, I'll just share something else that's quite personal to me as well.
If you don't mind,
There's
of course.
another underlying reason why I actually stuck with jiu-jitsu, and I think there are females out there who have confided in me about their experiences with harassment. Yep. So that's a pretty deep topic. Okay. And
Here we go.
Yeah, so
Here we go.
So the reason why I feel that I can be empathetic to these people is because I've been there as well.
Yeah, woman.
And it's so I can share about this now because I've gained closure from it for myself. So I've been through this really intense situation. It's taking me through the court system, and anyone who's been through the court system knows that it could take a year or more to actually see this person in court. The other thing is the psychological thing where you're constantly going in, giving statements, providing evidence, giving more statements, getting into the whatever, even if you're like on camera in the court, seeing their face, it's horrifying. And I can empathize with anyone who's going through that. I actually pulled the plug just before the court case.
You did?
Just because I actually couldn't deal with it. I couldn't deal with seeing that person there. But then I went back, and obviously I got help for it, just for myself. You know, I was seeing a shrink, all of that kind of stuff. And I was able to heal from it, and then just, you know, it made me a stronger person. I wasn't able to talk about it for a long time. But then I found, you know, time heals. If you have the right tools there and you really nurture yourself, that's how I learned, you know, how to take care of myself. I didn't have anyone around me to look after me then. It was all on me. And then after that, now I can say, you know, a part of the jiu-jitsu for me is a much deeper reason than just because I enjoy it. It's also because of the fact that I can defend myself. I felt so helpless at that point because I was in a situation where I couldn't fight for myself. I did fitness, but when you're in that situation, it is so different. So, you know,
we can't relate as men.
no.
We can't relate.
I don't know. Yeah,
we can't
I got
relate.
daughters.
We can't relate. And you know, if you have a daughter,
You know that. Yeah, it's just
that's one of our worst nightmares as fathers.
absolutely.
You know, like we don't want our daughters to go through that.
No. And this was actually by someone that I really trusted as a close friend. Unfortunately, it went the wrong way. This is why I'm really strong in advocating.
Man,
I'm just
getting a chill. It's just like it's getting a chill.
Yeah.
So
Sorry, I'm just saying this for the benefit of, you know, the listeners out there who have been through that or know someone who's going through that. You know, they understand. They know what I'm talking about. It's pretty tough, but you can get there in the end.
oh man,
Go.
I'm hairless, but I don't. I'm totally clean, but man, the chill in my back is just like literally right.
Yeah, it's intense.
Intense.
That's
That's
intense.
Bok.
I thank you for sharing. Wow.
You're welcome.
But what were we gonna say, Brandon?
And that's it. I'm just like it's giving my chill because any harassment you hear from that is, I guess it's physical, right, Bok?
It was a lot of I
Yeah.
mean, physical, emotional.
Yeah, but for me, any harassment, it's especially
It's
physically,
no-go.
it's
a
no joke,
no-go.
right? It's no joke at all.
Not acceptable.
I hate violence. I'm not a violent man. I'm a dad, and I know how it feels. I think we talk about this being coming from a parents who we get belted, right? But going from that, any harassment from friend or partner, any physical, even an abuse, I can't deal with that.
Yeah.
But as I said, people thinks we do jiu-jitsu for a reason that we want to hurt some people, but it's not.
It's because we're scared human beings and we just want to protect ourselves. I truly believe that.
It's mine. It's just like, thank you for sharing.
That's
Wens. I'm just giving you a chill right now. It's like, that's very deep to share.
God damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is actually the first time I've really talked about it in a public arena. I've shared with people who have come to me with similar experiences just because, you know, they might need guidance or something. I'm there because I've been through it. I sort of can tell them what they need to hear, just to get them through.
And I guess having your jiu-jitsu, it gives you more self-confident. Also, you know, protecting yourself.
I think it's so important.
Yeah.
I think it's so important.
Wow.
I just want to lighten the mood because
me too. Yeah, me too.
I was actually gonna say.
I got a question on that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Who
sure.
wants to go
shoot.
first? Who wants to go first? Go.
George, the original game changer, all right? That's the OG. That's the OG in
Are we
there.
talking about the Netflix?
Also
No.
plant-based.
Are you playing
I'm
box?
gonna,
I am.
Yeah,
Are you?
she's
Yes.
the OG of plant-based, George.
Wow.
The OG.
That's intense.
13, 14 years strong.
14 years strong.
Oh, for real?
Yes.
There you go.
Oh wow, I didn't know.
That's
that.
a question.
What? I'm
No,
sure
no,
you're gonna.
No.
Yeah?
Yeah.
how did this begin?
The plant-based?
Yeah.
Initially my mom, because my mom's spiritual, it was more, if you understand the Buddhist precepts or whatever, basically it's karma. So I have the belief that all animals have spirits, they have souls, and so eating their flesh is just not right. So my mom was Buddhist first.
I'm getting killed in here. I'm getting killed in here.
I'm seeing you guys
I'm getting killed in here.
And then go on.
Yeah,
go on,
so that
go
was
on.
the reason why I started. My brother and I started being vegetarian. We eased into it slowly, 2 years part-time, because we felt bad that mum was cooking meat and her vegetarian stuff at the same time. So we said, oh, mum, we'll just have, vegetarian food with you a couple of times a week. And then slowly we just became full-time. Then we were old enough to understand the benefits of being like plant-based, I guess. And so my brother and I found that we were a lot healthier, more clarity in thinking, just for our own personal selves. And then we decided to stick to it. It was really easy because we had that transition period. But we found that it worked best for us, and also because of our beliefs as well. So that's how it started.
The OG there, George. The OG, not flexitarian.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm good. I always say this. I like seeing things from two perspectives. So clearly with what you mentioned here, and as I've been listening to current media, again, Joe Rogan, he just did last month, he went with a carnivore diet, which was encouraged by Jordan Peterson, who I'm a big fan of. And they say that cognitively, they've become better. They've lost a lot of body fat. They're more articulate. They're functioning at a higher level. All right. And they keep going. They're preaching that, again, as with vegetarians, and the carnivore diet has actually existed for a very long time. Inuits, they say that they've been doing that for God knows how long. And it's just interesting to hear, with what you just said about what were the key benefits that you noticed? You said clarity of thinking.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you feel healthier in
I
general.
do, yes.
Okay. But with that respect, the carnivore diet preaches the same thing. So it's almost like...
Yeah, but we're a channel. So it may be the plant-based diet might help us more. Because Joe Rogan is a different DNA. They got different DNA.
Yeah, he's Italian, and Jordan Peterson is half. He's Norwegian.
Yeah,
so
so
I'm quite close to the
Oh,
Scandics.
okay.
Yeah, because my partner, she's Swedish. So I see both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
I really do, and I've also practiced plant-based. I used to hang around with a lot of people that were vegetarian, and I go, "What the hell is this craze for?" But the saying, don't knock it till you try it.
Yeah.
So I did try it. Man, I didn't feel good.
It's true. Look.
But look, it's to their own. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying
it's good. No.
I could attest to the fact that I'm a bit of a meathead. I really am.
Yeah.
I love my weights. I love my protein. What did Miguel say? A bit of a Chad.
Yeah.
From last week. And I love meat. I really do. But I have a dog, and I understand where they're coming from.
Yeah.
I look at my dog's eyes, and I'm like, and when I'm eating something, he looks at me, and then I'm like, oh man. Yeah, with what you're saying, animals have souls. Because I see my dog, and I'm just like, with everybody. But then I give him meat, and he goes, So I don't know. I don't know what perspective to choose. So it's kind of, I always want to explore all these different perspectives. I don't want to condemn one over the other, because that's the easy thing.
No, you can't really impose on people, your own beliefs. Everyone's their own person. They can do whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
For example, I'm a vegetarian. I go out and I eat veggie food. I don't care if you're eating meat in front of me. I'm not that kind of person. I'm not going to dictate what you eat. If someone actually orders a vegetarian meal, I always point out, you don't have to eat vegetarian. I know they're being really considerate, and I really appreciate that. But it's not something that I really put on people. I don't care. You're your own person. I have my own beliefs. I'm my own person,
Because it's really hard when you have friends who are vegans,
Like George.
Is he vegan?
Flexitarian.
Flexitarian.
when he wants to be.
Yeah, flexitarian. We're gonna get killed in here, guys.
Well, he's coming on. He's
next
coming
week.
on soon. So
He can address that
Yeah,
next week,
next
week or the week
when I'm
after.
gone.
It's good that what you mentioned, Tinkerbell, that when you eat.
Wait, can you stop?
I knew you. I was waiting for this. I was waiting for this. I'm glad that you're bringing it up. Go for it.
Why Tinkerbell?
Wendy.
Oh man, like the whole time you were saying it, I'm like, Tinkerbell.
I can't see the
Tinkerbell?
relation.
And
How do they?
I was like, what? Did something?
Captain.
I know, but I was like, was that fancy dress? What was
No.
going on? What happened? Why Tinkerbell?
Actually, my mom named me after Wendy and Peter Pan.
Oh, boom!
Wow.
Yeah, not even joking.
Tinkerbell.
Okay.
So, okay, I want to go a little because we always dive into a few conspiracies and whatnot. All right.
Oh, okay.
Here
This
we
is a
go.
George topic.
Yes.
No, because last week we talked about Disney, and clearly you've been named after a Disney character, or probably it's probably not even a Disney character per se. All right, it was probably a story that was taken by Disney. I don't know,
Yeah,
but
right.
I
Just bought the rights.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So I can only assume that would be that. All right. So you love psychology. I look into like it, and I love breaking things down like this. So last week I was talking about this whole thing about Disney and the Bible and whatnot, and it really shows the psychology of man. Now, if you break down Peter Pan essentially is a child that does not want to grow up.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Captain Hook is actually the definition of what businesses are and what real life is. And you notice that the crocodile has a time from it.
Mm-hmm.
And the crocodile wants to always go after Captain Hook. So there's deep psychological meanings behind that. But then, this is where I connect things. So Peter Pan essentially falls in love with Wendy. Yeah. But Wendy, in many ways, if you look into one of the derivations of that story, there's a movie called Hook, Robin Williams.
Yes.
Seen that?
Yeah. Peter Pan falls in love with Wendy.
Yes.
When you really look deep into it, Wendy is the voice of reason for Peter Pan to grow up in that derivation.
Huh.
Because Peter Pan is the boy that does not want to grow. So Wendy, our coach,
Wow.
Gracie Parramatta,
Wow.
Oh, okay. So I was like, I'm looking for the link.
the voice of reason.
Yeah, the voice.
What's up with that?
Okay.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
Oh, that's a
I
nice.
think we should do
You like that?
Maybe my mom saw this when she was pregnant with me. I don't know.
Is jiu-jitsu pretty much your only hobby? What else do you? What's your?
She travels.
So it's funny because my feed is full of jiu-jitsu. I love it. It's a passion of mine.
Yeah.
I live and breathe it. What most people don't know is that I actually have a full-time job outside of jiu-jitsu. And jiu-jitsu is almost like my part-time.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I love traveling.
Yeah.
I've been to a few now. I haven't had the opportunity to travel previously, but now because things have settled down a little bit, I take that opportunity to go as, while I can. I love reading. I love hiking. I love a lot of things. I love seeking out really good
Any
coffee
other
places.
sports that you do, Tinkerbell?
At the moment, no, but I do a lot of I do strength and conditioning around jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is my main thing.